Hello, my astrology friends. This is Lada from AstroLada.com, and we continue with the 2024 Astrology Marathon. My guest today is the charming and extremely knowledgeable Karine. Hello, Karine.
Hi, Lada. Hi, everyone.
Always excited to have you back on. And Karine's topic today will be career and money for each of the 12 signs through the eyes of Jupiter mostly. She's going to look how Jupiter will be moving. I'm very excited for this topic. I think we did something similar last year, and it was one of the most watched and loved videos with very deep information, not just superficial, passing over the 12 signs. But just to announce, Karine is offering 2 of her readings, Reading Your Talents and Career Potential, and also the year ahead transits for a very nice discount to all our viewers from the day the video is on for a few weeks after that. If you'd like a personal reading with Karine, if you like her energy, her style, you can join her, you can contact her. And as well, her and Victor will be making a retreat in France in June 2024. Karine is also a yoga teacher. She will be teaching that as well. It will be a very small, private one within 10 people, if anyone want to do that. I'm doing another one in Bulgaria in the end of April in a spa luxury kind of, again, not very big event, but you know, you can pick and choose, guys. 2024 is a year of traveling, Jupiter conjunct Uranus, and for knowledge and wisdom. So there will be anyone who wants, again, I'll put contact below. You can contact Karine. And yes, I'm excited what you have to present for us.
Yeah, and everyone can join yours and afterwards then join ours.
Yay! We'll bring them to you all well massaged, all well spa'd up. And you can do the intense family constellations and yoga and move them a bit.
Yeah, and then we're doing different topics. So viewers, if you are interested in deep healing, so you can join Lada's for the predictive, right?
Yeah,
Your topic.
we'll be looking at personal horoscopes for the years that are coming. So the big changes that are coming. Well, you'll be doing a lot of healing on your retreat.
Yeah,
Family
relationships.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
relationships and sorry. Relationships and talking to your blockages and then turning into your opportunity.
Beautiful.
So we're doing back to back. We're doing 2 retreats and 2 different topics.
Yes. So whoever can afford to travel that much, come to both.
Yeah, definitely.
So
okay, then should I start?
Yes.
Okay. So before I start, I just have a quick introduction how I read the chart and how you can use the reading. So I use tropical zodiac and whole sign house system, and I apply Vedic astrology's techniques in all my readings. So please only use whole sign house system and don't use any unequal house system for this reading. And traditionally, people use sidereal zodiac for Vedic astrology. But the teacher that I learned from, Ernst Welpham, if you're interested in Vedic astrology, you must have heard of him. His techniques are all based on tropical zodiac, and you can search his video on YouTube. He has a whole video explaining why he stopped using sidereal zodiac in the Vedic astrology. And I think he stopped around 2005. So it's been a while. And I also apply Graha Drishti. So Graha means planets. Drishti is the eyesight aspect. So in Vedic astrology, each planet, they has their specific eyesight aspects. And the eyesight will also send the influence to the houses that it's looking at. So for example, Saturn's Drishti. Saturn's aspect is on the 3rd, 7th, and 10th from its position. So let me just share. So for example, Saturn, if Saturn is transiting your 6th house, Saturn is also shooting the influence to the 3rd, to the 7th, and the 10th. So counting from 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So Saturn is also shooting the influence to the 8th, to the 12th, and also to the 3rd. And for Jupiter's eyesight, Jupiter's drishti is 5th, 7th, and 9th from its position. So when Jupiter is, for example, transiting your 5th house, Jupiter is shooting the eyesight to the 9th, because from 5th house, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and also the opposite house, 11th house, and the 9th from its position is the 1st house. So that's how we see the planetary drishti. And with planetary aspects, you can have a full picture of what's going on in your life. Otherwise, you can only know Saturn transit the 6th house, and you don't know it actually influence other aspects of your life. But in this video, I will only mention the aspects, the drishti, that's related to today's topic, which is career and money. So not every aspect drishti will be covered. And there are 3 events I looked at for this video, which are Saturn still in Pisces, and they will stay here until 2026. So I'll briefly touch on this one. And Jupiter's current position is in Taurus and will move into Gemini on 26th of May, 2024, depending where you are. But in Asia, it's 26th of May. And so these are the 3 events I looked at for this video. And this video is good if you check from your rising sign as well as your moon sign. Because in Vedic astrology, you can read everything from your moon's position. So it means your moon becomes your 1st house, your ascendant. Because moon rules our mind, our emotions, our consciousness, and how we see the world. That's the lens that we look through. So sometimes you may find the reading resonates with you more if you looked from your moon's placements. That is because why? And also, if you're born in the nighttime and also your moon is very strong in the natal chart, you should definitely pay attention to transits from the moon. And also you can read your natal chart from the moon as well. And not so much for the sun sign, but if you're born in the daytime and also your sun is very prominent in your chart, definitely you can check from your sun sign. So let's start with Gemini, because Jupiter is going to change sign into Gemini. So we start with Gemini. So for Gemini rising and Gemini moon, Saturn is currently moving through your 10th house, and Jupiter is traveling through your 12th house and will move into your 1st house on 26th of May, 24. Saturn traveling through the 10th house is actually a big thing in Vedic astrology, because Saturn's key house is the 10th house. So each planet, they have their own key houses. For Saturn is the 10th house. So when Saturn transits the 10th house, Saturn is actually beginning his cycle. And of course, when Saturn transits the 1st house, it's very important, but there's a difference. When Saturn transits the 1st house, it's like the beginning of learning the qualities of Saturn. So for example, like perseverance, commitment, hard work, and time management. These are all Saturn's lessons. And you start learning that when Saturn transits the 1st house. But when Saturn transits the 10th house is the house of karma. So that's your action. And Saturn is also a planet of action, karma. So it is about your action towards your career path, what you're going to do, what are the bigger things you like to do, your ambitions. So it is very important for Gemini rising and Gemini moon. And Saturn is a planet of effort and work. So when Saturn shifts into Pisces earlier this year, so for Gemini rising and Gemini moon, you probably already felt a sense of heavy duty and heavy workload challenges in your professional life. And you might also have felt unsure and insecure about your professional goals, because Saturn brings fears and doubts into your action. So 10th house is the action, and Saturn is also the karma, also action. So you might feel a little bit insecure, unsure, and also having more doubts. And particularly for Gemini moon, because you feel more and you can feel more difficult when it comes to your career life, because that's how you perceive the life, and lots of responsibilities. And then there might be difficult superiors to deal with. And you might also feel less support in your work environment. But for both Gemini rising and Gemini moon, outer circumstances will make you reevaluate your career goals, rethink about what you want to do in life. because again, 10th house is your action, the bigger things that you want to do. And Saturn, when Saturn transits the house, it actually makes you more serious and also restructure the things in regards to the house. So when Saturn, the Lord of Karma, transiting the house of Karma, it is truly about what kind of actions that you're going to take in order for your career plan to move forward, and what kind of image that you like to build, and also what kind of adjustments you like to make. And so throughout the transits, when Saturn's still in your 10th house, you'll be continuously required to put more efforts in your actions and career to lay the foundation for what you truly want to achieve for the next 29 years, because Saturn's cycle completes in 29 years. And you will be continuously required to work hard to take your career to the next level. And for Gemini rising, Saturn is ruling your 9th house and transiting your 10th house. So you may feel the need to take a course or pursue a qualification in order to progress your career development. And Jupiter is currently transiting your 12th house, and it will stay here until next year in May. And any planets transit the 12th house is very important, because first house is the beginning and 12th house is the final house. So the beginning and the end are always the most important things. And when the planets transit a 12th house, we receive the gifts from that planet. And the gift can be manifested as a realization, conclusion, or closure associated with the planet. So topics related to Jupiter, like children, husband, especially for women, because Jupiter is the husband in Vedic astrology in the natal chart. So relationship with your children, relationship with your husband, or maybe some truth about your husband, and money situation, because Jupiter is a significator of money. So money situation, travels, and education. So these will be the topics that are highlighted during Jupiter transiting your 12th house. And if you're more spiritually inclined, you get a deeper understanding about those topics. And those topics are generally quite big, so you get a deeper understanding about the purpose of life as well. And you can go deeper in your spiritual process. And on a more mundane level, Jupiter is a significator of education, learning. And 12th house is a house of completion. So you might finish a course or finish a line of study under this influence, which corresponds to earlier I mentioned that Saturn is ruling your 9th house, transiting the 10th house. So you might have taken a course already, and maybe you'll complete the course very soon. And this course can help you to advance your career development. And for Gemini rising, Jupiter is ruling your 10th house and transiting the 12th house. So there can be opportunities to travel for work, but it could also be an end of a project or an end of a work. And 12th house is a house of dissolution. And when Jupiter transit here, can cause some uncertainty about your future, because 12th house is behind the ascendant, it's behind you. So sometimes you just have this uncertainty about what kind of direction you're going to take. And that really corresponds to Saturn is also sending the doubts and insecurity in the actions that you're going to take. And with that, with all these influences, that can evoke an interest in learning about spirituality, meditation, or psychology, and which can be very beneficial to help you go into the next chapter when Jupiter shifts into your first house in 2024. When Jupiter transits in your first house, that's completely story. That's a very exciting time. You will feel life is full of possibilities. And the major experience you're going to have is expansion, especially in your money situation, because Jupiter is a significator of wealth, wisdom, and happiness. So you can get the expansion, the experience at all levels. And during this transit, Jupiter can bring opportunities to improve your money situation. And especially, like I said, Saturn's still transiting your 10th house. and hard work in your career path, and also working towards your goal are very much highlighted. So it can be quite stressful. But when Jupiter shifts into your first house, it will definitely alleviate some stress from life and bring more opportunities, so you can see the lights on your path. And if you haven't figured out how to break through your current job scenarios, or if you're feeling unsure about your career and future steps, Jupiter transit the first house will definitely help you with that, alleviate that kind of uncertainty, insecurity. And there will be more job opportunities, career opportunities. If you have been thinking to start some kind of projects and having difficulties in the past, Jupiter transit the first house is actually a good time. You'll feel more confident in yourself, because first house rules you. When Jupiter transit the first house, it boosts your self-confidence. And this is also a good time for business development, for sure. And Jupiter transit the first house brings a lot of opportunities for travel and learning, because in Vedic astrology, Jupiter gets directional strength when it's in the first house. So when it's transiting your first house, it gets temporary directional strength, and it makes you very curious about learning things, learning about people, places, cultures, different backgrounds. So it's very exciting. And Jupiter loves to be in the first house. And when Jupiter transit your first house, Jupiter is going to escape Saturn's drishti the whole time. Because when Saturn transit 10th house, Saturn is looking at the 12th house. And Saturn will stay here until 2026. So when Jupiter finally shifts into your first house, Saturn's still looking at the 12th house. It's not looking at the first house. So you can enjoy Jupiter's power throughout the whole transit from 2024 to 2025. Okay, so thank you, Gemini. And we're moving on to Cancer. So for Cancer rising and Cancer moon, Saturn is currently moving through your 9th house, and Jupiter is traveling your 11th house, and will move into your 12th house on 26th of May, 2024. And Saturn transit the 9th house. 9th house rules higher education, higher learning, belief system, religion, foreign travels, gurus, teachers, and publication. And it can be very supportive for a teaching job, a job that requires travels or training, or if you're working in those fields. And if you're working in those fields, there will be more workload and responsibilities, because Saturn represents work and efforts. So you can get more workload if you're a teacher, or if you're in a university setting. But in general, for Cancer rising and Cancer moon, there can be more work trips, because Saturn is work and 9th house is journeys. So there can be more work trips. And 9th house also rules higher education. So if you have been thinking to apply for a master's degree or PhD or any kind of educational course, this is a perfect time. Any kind of long-term study is great, because Saturn is about perseverance, patience, and also slow and dedicated process is very good. And for those who are already students who are studying, there can be a delay in completing your course, because Saturn usually brings delays. Or you could change your course, because Saturn can also bring some doubts. But that is also because Saturn wants you to reconsider what's best for you in your future. So you might change your course. And Saturn transit the 9th house, this is a good time for people who are in import-export business, tourism, foreign travel related business, teaching jobs, organizing training, giving training, working on your essays, especially for PhD students or master degree students, or in publication. You become more organized and responsible in those areas. And when Saturn transit the 9th house, Saturn is looking at 11th house and 3rd house, 6th house. And both 11th house and 3rd house, they are karma houses, house of desires. And 11th house rules income, long-term wishes and dreams and goals. And depending on your natal chart, Saturn can be quite good when it's looking at the 11th house, because it can stabilize your income, if your income goes up and down. So when Saturn looking at the 11th house, it can help you to stabilize. And Saturn is looking at the 6th house, house of work, routines, and health. So you can expect more responsibilities and duties at work, because 6th house is the house of work. And as a result, you might find it difficult to keep up with your healthy routines, habits, and lifestyle. So it's very important for you to find a balance between your work and also your well-being. And Saturn aspects here, Saturn shooting the influence to the 6th house is actually quite good, because it can help you to stay focused and to sort out all the problems in life, because usually 6th house rules more difficult things, like imbalanced things. So you can stay focused and sort out things during this transit. So this can be a very productive transit. Then Jupiter is currently transiting your 11th house. When Jupiter is transiting the 11th house, Jupiter will make you more open to new friendships and new connections. And you can make new friends from different backgrounds under this influence. And Jupiter here will also bring more opportunities to enhance your income stream. Especially Jupiter is ruling your 6th house and transiting the 11th house. So you can gain more money through your hard work, your work, or through competition, because 6th house rules competition. So if your business is more like a competitive, and then you can gain more money through that. But earlier mentioned that Saturn transiting the 9th house is also shooting the influence to the 11th house. So the increase of your money may not be so obvious. And also sometimes it can give mixed results, because Saturn is looking at the 11th house and Jupiter is transiting your 11th house, receiving the aspects from Saturn. So the power of Jupiter is actually reduced. But the good thing is Saturn can also help you stabilize your income, like I said earlier. And when Jupiter transits the 11th house, this is a good time to look for a new source of income. If you're looking at a 9 to 5 job, and you can actually look into something that you can do on the side, and you might be also inspired to do so. And the 11th house is second from the 10th. So when Jupiter transits here, you might feel some level of fulfillment, because it's to do with your goals, and you might start like reaping rewards from your career. Jupiter transit the 11th house is considered a very lucky transit. It brings a lot of opportunities to money making, and social networking, achieving your goals. But like I said, because Saturn is also shooting the influence to the 11th house, so the power is not that strong. You still need to work hard if you wish to achieve your professional goals or financial success, and you still need to work hard. And sometimes you can experience some delays. Then Jupiter will move into your 12th house on 26th of May, 24. When a planet moves through the 12th house, this is a very important transit, because during this transit, we receive the gift from the planets, which can be manifested as a realization, conclusion, closure, or completion of something that's associated with that planet. So since this is Jupiter is about truth. So when Jupiter transits your 12th house, Jupiter will reveal the truth about Jupiterian things. So things about kids, husband, because in Vedic astrology, Jupiter represents the husband in woman's chart. So things about your husband, relationship with your husband, learning, education, traveling, spirituality, religion, these topics will be highlighted during this transit. And if you're more spiritually inclined, you get a deeper understanding about those subjects and the purpose of life. And you can also go deeper in your spiritual process, especially with Saturn is currently transiting your 9th house. When Saturn transiting the 9th house, you are also restructuring your belief system, religious understanding, and philosophy, basically your outlook on life. So even though it's not so much about your career and money situation, but it's about restructuring how you see the world. And sometimes that can also change how you see your career path and what are you going to do with your career? What kind of job are you going to do? And if you're more spiritually inclined, you can definitely make progress in those subjects and gain a different perspective of life. Jupiter is ruling your 9th house and transiting the 12th house. So your luck, your fortune will be increased when you traveling in the faraway places or traveling in a foreign country. So you can do that. But if traveling is not possible, you will want to, you can also travel in books, like reading a lot of books, expand yourself in books, perhaps reading something about astrology, metaphysics, subconscious mind, and psychology. And for those who work in creative and artistic field, it's easier for you to tap into your intuition, imagination. So when Jupiter transits the 12th house, it's very supportive for your work. And if your work involves studying of some sort or research, this transit will also give you the ability to study quietly and concentrate on your work. And you'll be able to get the deeper understanding of your studies and research. And the 12th house is a house of losses and expenses expanding. So Jupiter will expand your expenses during this transit. So pay attention to not get into debt, because when Jupiter transiting the 12th house is looking at the 6th house, house of debt. So be mindful. And also Jupiter transit the 12th house is also looking at the 8th house. That's the loan. So if you're getting to debt, it's because you're applying for a loan. For example, you're buying a house, then you get into the debt with a good reason, then that's fine. But just be mindful not to get into debt because you want investments or going into the stock market, because 8th house also rules stock market. So thank you, Cancer. Now we move on to Leo. For Leo rising and Leo moon, Saturn is currently in your 8th house and Jupiter is in your 10th house, and will move into the 11th house on 26th of May, 24. So Saturn transiting the 8th house is a very important transit for Leo rising and Leo moon. It's a life-changing period when it comes to your professional development. And I talk about the reason behind in great details last year. So if you're interested in that, you may refer to the video last year. Also the same topic, career and money. And there's a reason why it's so important when Saturn transits the 8th house for Leo rising and Leo moon. But basically when Saturn transits in the 8th house, there will always be some good results of work manifested for you, like in a positive way. And it can also be that your professional desire are finally fulfilled. And during this transit, usually people, they receive rewards by getting opportunities for new work or starting to get the benefits of their work. And oftentimes people might change their career during this transit, because you can see this way, Saturn is work and 8th house is transformation and changes. So people change their career path, but it's actually so much deeper than that. Saturn actually brings you a career that you're happier with, a career that's more meaningful to you. So whatever you change, it's a step up on your career path. And on the more mundane level, 8th house rules other people's money, your spouse's money, business partner's money, joint resources with your spouse or business partner. And it also rules the money that you get from the service that you provide. So this could mean that your partner could go through some financial issues and they cut off the source of income or the supports that you get from them. And Saturn transit here is actually showing you that it's better for you to get into the position where you don't have to depend on other people's resources. So for Leo rising, this is a time for you to rebuild and also reconsider and restructure your financial situation. Especially Saturn transit the 8th house is looking at the 2nd house. That's your own money. So 8th house and 2nd house, this is the money axis. So not only you focus on the joint resources with your partner, romantic partner or business partner, you will also need to learn to deal with your own finances in a more responsible way during the next 2 years. And when Saturn transit the 8th house is looking at the 2nd house, so it puts the pressure on your money situation as well. So it actually helps you to save more and restructure. Like I said, learn about your finances. What are you going to do with your money? And for Leo rising and Leo moon, Jupiter is currently in your 10th house and will move into the 11th house on 26th of May 2024. Jupiter transit the 10th house is actually a good time for your favorable time for your career path and career development. Your social status improves, your visibility improves, and more opportunities and doors open for you in regards to your professional path. And 10th house rules our bosses and supervisor and people with power. So during this transit, you may find them standing behind you, backing you all the way, and even bringing you opportunities for you to shine. But because Saturn transit the 8th house is looking at the 10th house. Saturn transit the 8th house is looking at the 10th house. So that's why Jupiter is still receiving the aspect, the eyesight from Saturn. So Jupiter's power is not that strong. So even though you have those opportunities, you still have to work hard for it. And sometimes you can experience some delays as well. But this will change when Jupiter shifts into your 11th house. Because when Jupiter moves into your 11th house, Jupiter will completely escape Saturn's drishti, Saturn's eyesight. Because Saturn's still looking at the 10th house, but Jupiter is no longer there. Jupiter is already in your 11th house throughout the whole transit. So you can enjoy Jupiter's power from 2024 to 2025. And 11th house is associated with money, gains, recognition, trophies, and it rules network circles, friends, marketplace, and long-term wishes and goals. So during this transit, you can expect rewards, promotion, and honor. And Jupiter will bring growth and expansion in your income because the 11th house is second from the 10th. So it brings opportunities in the marketplace for your business if you're in the business field. And it also brings opportunities for you to achieve your goals, professional and financial goals. And new sources of income are also possible. And you will feel really optimistic and forward-looking on your path. So this is an exciting time for Leo rising and Leo moon. And you will meet like really interesting people who can open your mind and even bring opportunities to you. So it's very important for Leo rising and moon not to stay at home. You need to put yourself out there. And 11th house is second from the 10th. So Jupiter here will also help you to spot the opportunities in regards to your career, in regards to your long-term wishes and goals. And Jupiter transit 11th house is generally quite lucky for money making, gains, and new source of income. And when Jupiter transit the 11th house, Jupiter is looking at the 3rd house. So 3rd house is to do with communication, sales, and business activities. So Jupiter can bring luck and optimism into those areas. And 3rd house also rules our mind. So you will become more positive and your communication skills, your selling skills are flowing, and you will definitely impress people with your positivity and friendliness. This is particularly good if you're working with other people, and also if you're doing your business, and if you're looking to expand your clientele, this is a very good time. And Jupiter is looking at 7th house from 11th house. So this is another marketplace. It's the 7th house is also a business, about business, working with other people. So you have lots of opportunities to bounce ideas with other people, work with other people, and you can do well whether you are in a business partnership or alone in the marketplace under this transit. But for Leo rising and Leo moon, it's very important for you to constantly push yourself to a new territory and push out your comfort zone and make new connections with others. Thank you, Leo. Now we go on to Virgo. Virgo rising and Virgo moon, Saturn is currently moving through your 7th house. Jupiter is moving through your 9th house and will move into your 10th house on 26th of May. Saturn transit the 7th house you could partner up with people who are more experienced in your professional field, or someone older, or someone who is in a higher social status. And you can enter into a more long-term collaboration and partnership. And when Saturn transits the house, it usually makes us become more serious and responsible for the things that are related to the seventh house, to that house. So in your case, it's a seventh house. So whether it's a business or romantic connection, during this transit, you will find yourself learning to take on more responsibilities or restructuring the nature of your collaboration, the nature of your partnership. It might be all of a sudden, all the responsibilities are falling onto your shoulders, and then you have to learn to deal with it. And when Saturn transits the seventh house, it requires stricter commitment, perseverance, and repetitive and extra effort to uphold any partnerships, collaborations, contractual relationships, and agreements to keep it going. So you need to take on more responsibilities and then make sure it works. But all these lessons and challenges will help you to build a new foundation for your partnership, so you can continue to grow and flourish in the long run. So it's a good thing. And Saturn is the only planet that brings the concrete, long-lasting results. So the relationship or collaboration that you build during this transit will evolve into a long-term working relationship. Jupiter is currently transiting your 9th house, and we're moving into the 10th house on 26th of May, 2024. And 9th house is a very fortunate house for Jupiter, and also this is the most fortunate house in Vedic astrology. So when Jupiter transits here, even though you have some other difficult transits at the same time, you will still be able to remain positive and trust in life. And overall, you are more open to different cultures, philosophies, belief systems, religion, and spirituality. It's a very supportive transit for people who work in teaching, academia, writing, publication, or media work, because Jupiter is looking at the opposite house, 3rd house, so media work. And if you work in a university setting or in an advisory position, those are also very good. And this is a perfect time for foreign travels. And for Virgo rising, Jupiter is ruling your 7th house and traveling through your 9th house. So it's also excellent time for import-export business, such as like if you have any business that's connected to foreigners or foreign countries, any foreign factors is good during this transit. Then Jupiter moved into your 10th house. And this is a favorable time for your career development and success, as well as your social status and reputation. There will be opportunities and doors open for you, and opportunities to help you move forward from your current job scenarios. And Jupiter is ruling your 7th house and transiting the 10th house. So if you're forming, like Saturn still in your 7th house, if you're forming any kind of partnership, it can actually contribute to your career advancements or your visibility, or help you to get into the leadership position. And 10th house rules our bosses and supervisors, people with power. So during this transit, you can find those people that are supporting you and even bringing you some opportunities to shine. And maybe they will bring you opportunities for promotion. And Jupiter transit the 10th house is looking at the 2nd and the 6th, also the 4th. But 2nd house rules your money, accumulated wealth, and material possessions. So the money situation will improve during this transit. And there might be more opportunities in your career that can help you secure your finances. And Jupiter is going to, and this is actually a very good transit for Virgo rising, because when Jupiter transits the 10th house, Jupiter will escape Saturn's drishti, Saturn's aspects. Because when Saturn transits the 7th house, you see Saturn is looking at the 9th house. So right now, Jupiter is still in your 9th house. Jupiter receiving the aspects, the influence from the Saturn. So Jupiter's power is not that great, it's reduced. But when Jupiter moved into your 10th house, Saturn's still looking at the 9th house. Saturn is now looking at the 10th house. So you can enjoy the power of Jupiter, especially the 10th house is a very important house when it comes to the things that we want to achieve, the things we want to do. And oftentimes they are related to our career path. So you can see a lot of openings there. And also when Jupiter transit here is looking at the 2nd house and 6th house. So the Atha houses 10, 2nd and 6th, they are all Atha houses in Vedic astrology, the earth houses. So this is a good time for you to lay the foundation for your financial stability during this transit. Now for Libra rising and Libra moon, Saturn is currently moving through your 6th house and Jupiter is traveling in your 8th house and will move into your 9th house on 26th of May 2024. Saturn transit the 6th house is also very important because Saturn's key house is the 10th house and also 6th house. And 6th house rules health, daily routines, lifestyle, work, competition, arguments, and any imbalanced situations. And Saturn transit here, it brings a reality check to topics of your health, your lifestyle, habits, and also work. For example, you might question yourself if you're responsible for your health and if you're responsible for your habits and how does your lifestyle serve you. And work-wise, Saturn can bring some challenges in your work situations. For example, supervisors and co-workers, they might overlook your efforts and you might need to work extra hard to be acknowledged. And there might be a lot of work, but very little recognition. And your colleagues and employees may become more negative, unpleasant, and draining. And they might even become a burden as you might need to take on their responsibilities. So work can potentially become a source of stress and frustration under this influence. And that makes you question your current job scenario, whether you want to continue investing your time and energy. And usually when Saturn transits 6th house, it is time to make adjustments in your work, in your habits, in your daily life and health. So sometimes it can lead to a job change because you want to make improvements, you want to make adjustments. But overall, Saturn is actually quite happy in the 6th house. Like I said, because 6th house is also Saturn's key house. Because Saturn is a planet of efforts and work. And 6th house rules any kind of like arguments, imbalanced situations in life. So Saturn gets to work and to sort out many problems in your life. So Saturn is actually very happy here. And Saturn will help you stay focused and accomplish many tasks and sort out problems during the next 2 years. So this is actually a very productive transit. And Jupiter is currently transiting your 8th house and will move into the 9th house next year. And 8th house rules other people's money, other people's resources, your spouse's money, business partner's money, joint resources with your spouse, mutual assets. And it rules the money that you get from the service that you provide. And when Jupiter transits 8th house, it can actually have a positive impact on your spouse's financial situation or your business partner. And since Jupiter is transiting 8th house and looking at the 2nd house is your own money, your accumulated wealth. So some of you can actually benefit from other people's money and other people's resources under this influence. And Jupiter transit the 8th house can also support those people who work in a commission-based job, because the 8th house is the money that you get from the service that you provide. And Jupiter is ruling your 3rd and 6th house for Libra rising and transiting in the house of transformation and changes. So this could indicate potential changes in matters related to the 3rd and the 6th. 3rd house is business activities. So maybe the way you sell your products, your sales skills, and maybe your communication skills, and also the business structure might change, and how you run the business. And sixth house rules work and health. So again, when it's transiting, Jupiter ruling your sixth house and transiting the eighth house, it might go like your work and also your health habits might go through changes. And that really corresponds to earlier I mentioned that Saturn is transiting the sixth house. So it's time for you to make some adjustments in regards to your work habits, daily routines, and so on. Then Jupiter will move into your ninth house. It's a happy house. Ninth house is considered the most fortunate house in Vedic astrology. So even if you have other difficult transits at the same time, you will remain positive and trust in life, especially Saturn transit the sixth house. There can be quite a lot of difficult things happening, but you will have the ability to tackle them. And when Jupiter transiting the ninth house, you will become more positive and optimistic about that. And especially when Jupiter transit the ninth house, Jupiter will escape Saturn's aspects throughout the whole transit. So Saturn transit the sixth house, Saturn is looking at eighth house. Saturn is now looking at the ninth house. So, and Saturn will stay in the sixth house until 2026. So for Libra rising, when Jupiter moves into your ninth house, you can enjoy Jupiter's power throughout the whole transit. And especially ninth house is Jupiter's house. So overall, your mind will become more positive and optimistic, and you'll be open to different cultures, philosophies, belief systems, religions, spirituality. And for Libra rising, Jupiter is ruling your sixth house and transiting the ninth house. So you might be inspired to take some course or on-job training to advance your knowledge, because ninth house is the higher education. Sixth house is work, so on-job training. And traveling for work is also possible. Ninth house rules journeys. And it's very supportive transits for people who work in teaching, academia, writing, publication, media work. And also if you work in the university setting or in the advisory position. And this is a perfect time for foreign travels, and also excellent time for import, export, international business. Any kind of business that are connected to foreign factors. Then we move on to Scorpio. Scorpio rising and Scorpio moon. Scorpio is currently moving through your fifth house, and Jupiter is traveling through your seventh house and will move into the eighth house on 26th of May. And Saturn transit the fifth house. Fifth house rules our creative self-expression. It's a house of fun. And Saturn is a planet of efforts and work. So you could turn one of your hobbies or interests into work. You can have fun through work. And you can turn one of your hobbies into work, which provides you a lot of joy, and then you make them become your career. And if you're working in the creative artistic field, you will spend a lot of time working on your creativity. So you get fun through work. And Saturn is ruling your third house and transiting the fifth house. So it could also show that you put a lot of efforts upgrading your skills and knowledge. But you might find the progress of your learning is quite slow because Saturn gives delays, and sometimes it requires extra efforts and patience to go through the process. And fifth house rules fun, pleasure, vacations. So your approach to life might become more work focused. Like I said, you might be busy just working on one of your hobbies into turning them into career. So you become more serious about that. And Saturn transit the fifth house is looking at the opposite house, 11th house, house of friends. So it shows that they might be reduced social activities during this transit for Scorpio rising and Scorpio moon. Or you become more selective about the events that you go to and friends that you associate with. Maybe you only go to the events and also get-togethers that are like brainstorming or something to do with work. But 11th house is a house of income, gains, and profits. So when Saturn transits the 5th house, looking at the 11th house, you could start earning from your other source of income. So if you do turn one of your hobbies into a career, maybe you start reaping the rewards during the next 2 years. And Jupiter is currently moving through your 7th house, and we're moving into 8th house on 26th of May, 2024. And when Jupiter transits the 7th house, it actually brings benevolent partners into your life, or the partnership that you form during this transit will be long lasting, because 7th house is a very important house for Jupiter. 7th house is Jupiter's key house, because 7th house is about creating something long lasting, and Jupiter is a planet of growth and expansion. So when Jupiter is in the 7th house, you get the opportunity to create something that you really like and you want to leave behind. So you can see some growth in your clientele, allies, and business during this transit, because usually Jupiter gives many in the house that it's in, and your interaction with other people will increase, more opportunities in the marketplace, in business, and more opportunities to work with other people, to collaborate. But because Saturn transit the 5th house is shooting the influence to the 7th. So here, Saturn is looking at the 3rd place from its position. So Saturn is shooting the influence to the 7th. So you may have a lot of opportunities to work with other people. There might be some benevolent partners coming into your life, but you still need to work hard for it to uphold the partnership, and also to keep the partnership going. And when Jupiter transits the 7th house, Jupiter is activating all the karma houses, because Jupiter is looking at the 3rd and also the 11th. So there will be more communication, social networking, but like I said, you might be selective. You might be just going to the ones that can benefit your work. And your visibility will definitely increase, because these are all social houses. So make sure you're putting yourself out there during the next 5 months' time. And then Jupiter will move into your 8th house. 8th house rules other people's money, other people's resources, your spouse's money, and business partner's money, joint resources with your spouse or with your business partner, mutual assets. And you rules the money that you get from other people. So when Jupiter moves through the 8th house, it can have a positive influence on your partner's money, partner's financial situation, whether it's romantic one or the business one. And if you do have a mutual assets, you can somehow benefit from it. And if you have a business partner, they can contribute more to your mutual assets. And during this transit, you can also expect some financial returns from other people. For example, someone owes you money, they pay you back, or tax return, or insurance claim. And you can also expect financial support from others. For example, your partner or maybe your business partner financially supports you during this transit, or someone provides you their resources for you to utilize. Not necessarily money, but they provide their client base, platform, their home, their products and skills for you to use. So in a way, you also benefit from other people's support. And one thing you need to pay attention is that Jupiter is ruling your 2nd house and transiting your 8th house, house of transformation and changes. So your money situation could go through changes during this transit. And it's not necessarily negative. It could be that you earn some money and you invest your money in something else, or you buy something. So there's a constant inflow and outflow of money. And Jupiter ruling your 2nd house, transiting the 8th house, and also still looking at the 2nd house. So it means you can also potentially earn money through 8th house activities. So gaining through investments is possible, and gaining through partnerships and joint resources is also possible. Inheritance, and you might inherit something during this transit, or dealing with some legacies. Then we move on to Sagittarius. For Sagittarius, Sagittarius rising and Sagittarius moon, Saturn is currently in your 4th house, and Jupiter is traveling through your 6th house and will move into your 7th house on 26th of May. Saturn transit the 4th house can bring issues in your home life, your domestic environment. And Saturn makes you want to make some changes in your current living situation. It could be moving houses, renovation, or there can be some repairs or fixing to do in your home. And Saturn brings delays. So if you're thinking to move houses, you may not find the one that you're 100% satisfied with, but you will definitely find the one you're happy with by the end of the transit. And Saturn here will also slow down the any property dealing or land dealing, contracts, resolution of the domestic issues. So you need to be patient when it comes to those issues. And 4th house rules family, and it rules the mother in Vedic astrology. So pay attention to mother's health or maybe other family members' health. And it could also be that some family member is dealing with some difficulties in life. So they need your help and support and attention. Saturn transit the 4th house is aspecting, shooting the influence to the 6th and the 10th. 6th house is a house of work and 10th house is house of career. So you can expect more workload, responsibilities, and also some challenges in your work situation. And there can be some changes in your work environment. For example, if you have been working from home, the situation might make you want to go back to the office. It could be that because there are a lot of fixing to do, or maybe the living situation is not ideal, so that's why you want to go back to the office, or vice versa. And Saturn transit the 4th house, looking at the 6th house and 10th house. You may find your colleagues are difficult to deal with, or maybe your superiors are very difficult to deal with. And you could also find maybe there's no satisfying work space in your office. So there's some challenges in your work situations during this transit. So generally, there's a work life and home life adjustment that needs to be made during the next 2 years. And finding the balance between your home life and work life is very important. Finding the balance between responsibilities and also your well-being is important, because 4th house rules your inner happiness. And Jupiter is currently in your 6th house and will move into the 7th house next year in May. And 6th house rules work. So you might have started doing something big, something ambitious with your job, because Jupiter makes you want to do something big, and you become more determined, which is really good. But at the same time, because if you want to do something expensive, it can increase some level of competition, and also increase more work duties and responsibilities for Sagittarius rising and moon. So pay attention to your health. The high level of stress can make you vulnerable to illness. And not to mention, just now I said like Saturn transit the 4th house. That's 4th house also is your inner happiness. So your well-being is quite important during this transit. And watch out your stress level, your eating habits, daily routines. Are you doing something to make yourself happy? And do you have enough nourishment for your body and your soul? And Jupiter transit the 6th house is looking at the 2nd house and 12th house. 2nd house is your money, savings, investments. So Jupiter can bring some positive influence to your money situation. But be mindful of your expenses, because Jupiter transit the 6th house is also looking at the 12th house. So while you're making money, you're probably spending money as well. And 12th house rules faraway countries, faraway places, overseas countries. So it could indicate good opportunities coming from foreign lands, or there's some kind of foreign factors, connotation that can benefit your work under this transit. Then then Jupiter will move into your 7th house. 7th house is a very important house for Jupiter in Vedic astrology, because each planet, they has their key houses, and Jupiter's key house is the 7th house. That is because Jupiter is a planet of expansion and growth, and 7th house is a house of creating something bigger, long lasting with someone. So that's why it rules partnerships. And for Sagittarius rising and Sagittarius moon, Jupiter is going to escape Saturn's aspects throughout the whole transit. So Saturn is currently transiting your 4th house, looking at the 6th house. Saturn is not looking at the 7th house until 2026. So when Jupiter transits in your 7th house, Jupiter is not receiving any influence from Saturn. So you can enjoy the power of Jupiter, because at the moment, Jupiter is in your 6th house and Jupiter is receiving the aspects from Saturn. Saturn is here. So Jupiter's power is reduced. But when Jupiter is in 7th house, then that's a different story. And this is a favorable time for Sagittarius rising and moon to take actions and create something significant, something you wish to leave behind, long lasting. And Jupiter transit 7th house can bring benevolent partners into your life. The partnership that you get into will become more like a long-term thing. So if you're single, you may meet someone during this transit. And if you're in a more committed relationship, it can mean marriage. And Jupiter usually gives money in the house that it's in. So when it's in the 7th house, your interaction with people will increase, and there will be more opportunities to work with other people, to collaborate. And also you will bring more long-term and beneficial working relationships in your life. You'll have more allies, more opportunities in the business field, because 7th house is also a house of business. And if you've been thinking to do a business projects or a side projects, this is also a good time, because Jupiter transit 7th house is looking at the 11th house. And 11th house is another house of market, and it rules gains and profits, new source of income. So if you do start something during this transit, it could become a long-term effect in relation to your goals, your wishes, and also your financial achievements. So it's very exciting. Now we move on to Capricorn. Capricorn rising and Capricorn moon. Saturn is currently moving through your 3rd house. And Jupiter is traveling through your 5th house and will move into your 6th house on 26th of May, 2024. And 3rd house rules the mind, the thought process, and our communication. So Saturn transit here would definitely challenge you to learn to organize your ideas and restructure how you think and express yourself more clearly. And here your mind will become more serious and organized, which is good. And this can help you stay focused and prioritize what's really important in your life. 3rd house rules communication of any kind. So outer situations may force you to learn a new way of communication. For example, new digital devices or digital platforms, or maybe drawing. Maybe drawing is not your forte, but drawing is a type of communication, express yourself. And maybe in your work that you need to learn something like that. Or your job requires you to learn some new technology in order to keep up to date. And 3rd house rules our intellect. So this transit is about broadening our mind and skills so we can communicate more effectively. And 3rd house rules travels. So you may travel to different places for your work during this transit. Saturn transit 3rd house is looking at 5th house and 9th house. Both houses, 5th house and 9th house, they are learning and education in different way. 5th house is more like self-study, mantra chanting, and 9th house is a higher education. So even if you're not a student or in a formal education system, you will still have much learning to do during this transit. You may start a formal education, or maybe you start an informal educational course where you study on your own. And in either case, you'll be successful with those studies. And Saturn transit the third house is a good time to master some skills and upgrade your knowledge and pursue training, especially in something that's more systematic and requires more mental work, because the third house is about the mental work. And for Capricorn rising and moon, Jupiter is currently in your 5th house and will move into the 6th house on 26th of May 24. 5th house rules our creative intelligence, and you feel more confident expressing yourself, your creativity, and you become more creative with your work and solutions to problems. And 5th house also rules learning and education. This is an excellent transit for students. So you might start a course or change a line of study, because Jupiter wants you to make improvements. So that's why you may change your course, and either way, it will lead to a much more success. And even though you're not a student, you will still feel inspired to learn something under this transit. So it really corresponds to earlier I said, like Saturn is transiting the 3rd house. You still want to learn something. And not to mention, Jupiter is ruling your 3rd house, transiting the 5th house. It's really about upgrading your skills, expanding your skills and knowledge. 5th house is a house of fun and pleasure. Jupiter transit here can bring a lot of fun times, vacations, holidays, pleasure. And you'll be doing many things that you love, exploring new activities and even hidden talents. And Jupiter transit 5th house is looking at aspecting the 11th house. So you'll be enjoying good times with your friends and social activities. And Jupiter will move into your 6th house next year. When Jupiter moves into your 6th house, you may start doing something big, ambitious with your job, and which is very good, but at the same time, it can increase your workload and responsibilities and potentially create a stress and competition at work. And when Jupiter transits the 6th house, Jupiter is actually aspecting the 10th and 2nd houses. All the other houses, the earth houses, are activated. So which means even though you can have a lot of work responsibilities, but the more work that you put in, the higher you can elevate yourself. You can elevate your reputation. And at the same time, you can also increase the income, your income and financial situation, because Jupiter is looking at 10th and 2nd from 6. So this is a good time for Capricorn rising, Capricorn moon to lay out the foundation for work, for your career and material security. Especially Jupiter transit the 6th house from 2024 to 2025. Jupiter will escape the drishti, the aspects from Saturn throughout the entire transit. So you can enjoy Jupiter's power. Because when Saturn transits the 3rd house, Saturn is looking at the 5th. Saturn is not looking at the 6th. So when Jupiter finally goes into the 6th house, Jupiter will escape the influence from Saturn. So you can enjoy the power of Jupiter. And in addition to an increased workload and responsibilities, your daily routine will also become very busy, because the 6th house rules daily activities and routines. So pay attention to your health and well-being. Your busy schedule and stress from work can potentially make you vulnerable to illness. And Jupiter transit 6th house is looking at 10th house and 12th house. 10th house is your career developments and work environments. And 12th house is faraway countries, faraway places, overseas countries. So it could mean that there might be some great opportunities coming from foreign lands, or maybe your work somehow is connected to foreigners or foreign factors. Now we move on to Aquarius. Aquarius rising, Aquarius moon. Saturn is currently moving through your 2nd house. Jupiter is traveling through your 4th house and will move into your 5th house on 26th of May, 24. When Saturn transits the house, it makes us restructure and take things more seriously in the things that are related to the house. And we become more disciplined, responsible, and there will be more efforts that we need to make. So for Aquarius rising and Aquarius moon, when Saturn transits the 2nd house, you are learning to restructure your money situations, family matters and values. And you become more serious and responsible in those areas. Money-wise, they can be outer circumstances that make you feel like your financial situation is restricted, or you feel insecure about your money. It could be that you just bought a house, or maybe you just did a big purchase. So that's why you need to be very careful with your money under this transit. Or maybe you're saving up something for something big, like big spending. So that's why you become more careful with your money. And when Saturn transits the 2nd house, is looking at shooting the influence to the 11th house, house of increase, house of income and marketplace. So, and 11th house is the 2nd from 10th. So you might take on more responsibilities in regards to your work and explore different ways to increase and secure your income, explore different avenues about how to make more money. And Saturn is a planet of fear and lack. So when it's moving through your 2nd house, it will make you feel like you don't have enough for your needs. And some people might end up saving more under this transit because they feel like they don't have enough. So they need to be very cautious with their spending. Saturn transit the 2nd house is looking at the 8th house. So for Aquarius rising, Aquarius moon, try to avoid risk-taking behaviors, even the stock markets, because 8th house is about the risks in investments and stock markets. So evaluate your situation carefully and stay practical, stay focused. Otherwise, you could financially overextend yourself and end up losing money. And in general, Saturn transit the 2nd house will definitely make Aquarius rising and moon more aware of your money situation, how you're going to use your money, what are you going to do with your money. And Saturn is about structure and order and taking things in a practical manner. So Saturn transit here is about learning to balance the financial books. Jupiter is currently transiting your 4th house and will move into the 5th house. 4th house rules house, properties, lands, vehicles, and any conveniences. And when Jupiter transits here, Jupiter can bring a lot of luck, opportunities to any home matters in your home, opportunities for property dealing, home purchases. And Jupiter is the lord of your 2nd house. And 2nd house is about possessions, material possessions, and transiting the 4th house. So you might be purchasing a house, purchasing a property or garden, vehicle, or any conveniences under this influence. And Jupiter here will also inspire you to make some improvements in your domestic environments. Maybe you want to buy a bigger fridge, upgrade your home, and maybe build a swimming pool, or even a relocation. Especially Jupiter transit the 4th house is also looking at the 12th house. So some of you even move abroad and go into foreign residence under this influence. But at the same time, Saturn is currently transiting your 2nd house, is looking at the 4th house, aspecting the 4th house. So moving houses might require additional efforts or some challenges that you need to overcome. It's not impossible, it's just there might be some delays or challenges. And Jupiter transit the 4th house is looking at the 10th house. So your career and work environments. You can see some progress in your work environments as well. And there can be some opportunities for job change, promotion, or your visibility. But because Jupiter is receiving the aspects from Saturn, so the power of Jupiter is not that great, is reduced. But still, you can see some opportunities. And Jupiter looking at the 10th house, it can potentially create more workload and responsibilities. But overall, Jupiter looking at the 10th house can bring new openings, possibilities on your career path. Then Jupiter will move into your 5th house. 5th house it's a trinal house, and Jupiter is very happy in the trinal house. And especially when Jupiter transit your 5th house, Jupiter will escape the drishti, the aspects from Saturn. The Saturn transit the 2nd house is looking at the 4th, but it's not looking at the 5th. So when Jupiter moves into your 5th house, Jupiter will enjoy the power itself. There won't be Saturn's aspects. And when Jupiter transits the 5th house, usually it brings rewards to the creation you have been working on in the past years. Because Jupiter's key house is the 7th house. That's the house that you create something with someone, long-lasting and something big. And when it goes around 11 houses, and when it reaches to the 5th house, so that's 11 from the 7, this is when you're receiving your reward. So usually when Jupiter transiting the 5th house, you might have a baby, and pregnancy is also possible, because that's something that you create with someone, and it's long lasting. Usually baby is long lasting. But other than that, 5th house rules our creative intelligence. So you will feel free and confidence in your creative expression, and you become more creative with your ideas and your ability to solve problems. And Jupiter is ruling your 2nd house and transiting the 5th house for Aquarius rising. So it's 4 houses away from the 2nd. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's a home from your 2nd house. And 2nd house is your money, your savings. So that means you will become very creative in capitalizing your money, making money work for you, and turning difficult situations into opportunities. And 5th house also rules learning and education. So this is an excellent time for students, and they can have success in their studies. And even though if you're not a student, you will also feel inspired to learn something too, which can be beneficial, because 2nd house is your Jupiter is ruling your 2nd house, transiting the 5th house, and 2nd house is your investments. You invest in your learning and study, your education, which can be beneficial for you. It can help you gain profits. And Jupiter transit the 5th house is looking at the 11th house. 11th house rules gains, income, marketplace, network circles, and friends. So there will be opportunities to expand your network circles and make new friends. And there will be opportunities for new source of income as well. So more opening in the marketplace. And 5th house is a house of fun and pleasure. And Jupiter can bring a lot of fun times, vacations, holidays, and you'll be doing many things that you love and exploring new activities and even hidden talents. So thank you, Aquarius, and we move on to Pisces. So Pisces rising and Pisces moon. Saturn is currently moving through your 1st house. Jupiter is traveling your 3rd house and will move into your 4th house on 26th of May. When Saturn transits the 1st house, it's a very important transit. The biggest lesson that you're going to learn is time. And Saturn will make you become more aware of time, to be more conscious of time that you have available to do the things that you truly love. So it means Saturn will bring a lot of heavy duties and responsibilities that take up a lot of your time. And it could be work, it could be family, it could be kids, it could be parents, it could be chores, it could be pets, and it could be all together. So you'll feel like you don't have time for yourself and your time is being taken away. So time management is the biggest lesson to cultivate when Saturn transits the 1st house. reevaluating how you use your time and learning to use your time productively and focusing on what's really important in your life are the keys. And Saturn is the planet of work and effort. First house rules the body. So Saturn will make you work on improving your health because first house is the body and the health. So you might become more serious about keeping the diets and fitness routines, and which is really good. And Saturn transit the first house is looking at the 10th house as well. So you might become more ambitious about your actions because 10th house is our actions, the karma house. You become more ambitious about your work and also your social image. And you may take on additional work duties, social responsibilities, even business responsibilities, and you become more determined to see progress in your career development. So maybe that's why you become very busy with your schedule. You feel like you don't have time. But Saturn usually brings delays, so you might not see the advancement, promotion, or new job opportunity during these transits just yet. So be patient and try to avoid any conflicts with your superiors or people in the government. And for Pisces rising and Pisces moon, Jupiter is currently transiting your 3rd house. 3rd house is the busiest house among the 12 houses. And Jupiter brings growth and expansion to things that are related to the 3rd house. So that means there will be more communication, traveling, and you're always on the move. And you'll be exploring new ideas and philosophies. And you might start a new course or a skill-based training and doing something new to expand your horizon. So your schedule is very busy. So again, this is another indication that you'll be very busy, and then the time management is very important. And when Jupiter transits the 3rd house, this will make you clear in your communication. So it can bring benefits to all aspects of business activities. So if you're in the business, for example, like sales, marketing, advertisement, business ventures or media work or publication, this is good because your communication is clear and effective. And Jupiter transit the 3rd house is looking at the 7th house. 7th house is the house of business partnerships. So it will bring more business opportunities for you, for business people or for people who are self-employed. Then Jupiter will move into your 4th house next year in May. For Pisces rising, Jupiter is ruling your 1st house, transiting the 4th house. Ruling your 1st house, transiting your 4th house. So you can find happiness in your home life, and your domestic environments, with your family life during this transit. And you can also receive support and help from your family. And some of you might even inherit something, benefits from the legacies and inheritance during this transit, because Jupiter is looking at shooting the influence to the 8th house. And 4th house rules houses, properties, lands, vehicles, or any conveniences. So Jupiter can bring luck to any home matters, anything to do with your home, or opportunities for property dealings or home purchases. And Jupiter is a planet of expansion and growth, and it will also inspire you to make some adjustments, improvements in your domestic environment. For example, you might want to buy a bigger TV or bigger couch, or even moving houses or relocation. And Jupiter, when Jupiter transiting the 4th house, is looking at the 10th house. So it will bring possibilities in your current job scenario, and you may see progress in your career and new openings, or even a career change under this influence. But because Saturn transit the 1st house is also shooting the influence to the 10th house, so the results of the 10th house can be mixed. And you still need to work hard for it. Even though you have those opportunities, you still need to work hard for it to keep it going, and possibly to work through some challenges and delays. But during this transit, this is a perfect time for foreign travel, meditation, healing retreats, or studying mysteries of life. because Jupiter is aspecting the 12th house and 8th house. And both houses are to do with psychology, astrology, and mysteries of life. And 4th house rules our inner happiness. So when you study those subjects, it can actually contribute to your to find the peace within. Now move on to Aries, Aries rising and Aries moon. Saturn is currently moving through your 12th house, and Jupiter is traveling in your 2nd house and will move into the 3rd house on 26th of May 24. Saturn is the significator of health, our relationship with nature. And also Saturn's key house is 6th house. So that's why the elements in nature, the elements in our body. So that's why the relationship with nature. So for Aries rising and Aries moon, you might notice some health issues arising during this transit, especially if you haven't been taking care of your body and if you have been neglecting your health. When Saturn transits the 12th house, you realize that you need to put in the work and effort to restructure your body and also your health. And for Aries rising, Saturn is ruling your 10th house and 11th house. So 10th house is your worldly actions, the bigger actions that you like to take, your ambitions. And 11th house is your achievements. And 12th house is the final house, a house of completion and conclusion. So if you have been working hard, dedicated, and doing the things step by step in the lawful abiding way, when Saturn moves through the 12th house, it will actually bring resolution to your material problems. For example, you might finally pay off your mortgage, or you might reach the goals and the social status that you've always wanted. But on the other hand, if you have a afflicted Saturn, or if you're running through a difficult dasha is the term in Vedic astrology that means the period. So if you're running through a difficult period, you might find Saturn transit through 12 houses challenging, and you can get into more stress from life, like financial burdens, material burdens, achievements, anxiety, health issues, and so on. But generally, when Saturn transits the 12th house, it can bring some disturbance to your sleep. And also it brings anxiety, because 12th house is your subconscious mind, and Saturn brings fears and doubts into your subconscious mind. So you might not sleep well, and it will be difficult for you to meditate if you like to meditate. And also 12th house is behind ascendant, so it's behind you. When Saturn brings fears and doubts into your subconscious mind, you can feel really unsure about your next steps and your future direction. And particularly for Aries moon, because moon rules our perception, the lens that we look through, and also how we perceive our experiences in life. And this transit can feel more inward for you. And there's a lot of thinking to do or contemplation during the next 2 years. But for Aquarius rising, Saturn is ruling your 11th house, transiting the 12th house. So it's actually second from your 11th house. So you'll be working hard to maintain your finances and learning to balance your financial books. Which leads to Jupiter is currently transiting your 2nd house. So 2nd house is another house of money. And Jupiter brings opportunities to grow and secure your financial situation. So like I said, Saturn transiting the 12th house, but it's the ruling 11th house transiting your 12th house. So there might be some spending, but you also work hard to maintain your financial situation. And here, Jupiter transiting the 2nd house, also bringing the opportunities to help you do that. And Jupiter transit the 2nd house can bring some opportunities for investments and resources as well. But 2nd house also rules our material possessions, and Jupiter transit here can expand your desire to buy things. And like I said, Saturn is also transiting the 12th house and ruling your 11th house. 11th house is the money that you make, goes into the the house of expenses, 12th house. So really need to pay attention to how to balance your financial books for Aquarius rising and Aquarius moon. And second house is 11th from the 4th. So we're counting from the 4th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So Jupiter transit the second house and it's 11th from the 4th house. So that means you could spend money on properties, lands, vehicles under this influence, or any conveniences as a long-term investment. When Saturn transit the second house, it's looking at the 6th house. So you will be busy with your work and daily activities, and you could have more responsibilities or longer working hours. But at the same time, because Jupiter transit the second house is aspecting the 10th house. So 6th house is your work, 10th house is your career. So all the work-related houses are activated. So the more work that you do, the greater appreciation you will receive. And then Jupiter will move into the 3rd house on 26th of May, 2024. And 3rd house rules our mind, how we approach and process information. So when Jupiter transits the 3rd house, even though Saturn transits the 12th house can make you feel insecure about your next steps and also future direction. When Jupiter moves into your 3rd house, it can actually alleviate that kind of anxiety and stress. And you'll become more positive and optimistic. And 3rd house in Vedic astrology rules courage and effort. So you will become more ambitious and determined to make things work, which is a very positive way. And 3rd house is the busiest house amongst the 12 houses. And Jupiter can bring growth and expansion to things that are related to the 3rd house. So that means more communication, travels, and you'll be exploring new ideas and philosophies. And you might start a new course or a job or a skill-based training or exploring something new to expand your horizons. So your schedule will become busy under this influence. And Jupiter transit the 3rd house is looking at the 7th house. It brings business opportunities for business people, or if you're self-employed. So if you're looking to expand your clientele, this is a good time. Especially Jupiter transit your 3rd house is going to escape Saturn's drishti throughout the whole transit. Because Saturn transits your 2nd house. Saturn is looking at 4th house. Oh, sorry, here, 4th house. Oh, Saturn is transiting your 12th house, is looking at the 2nd house and 6th house and 9th house. So Jupiter is at the moment still in the 2nd house, but when Jupiter moves into the 3rd house, Jupiter will no longer receive the aspects from Saturn. So you can enjoy the power of Jupiter throughout the whole transit. And this is particularly good for business people. And also, like I said, if you're self-employed and looking to expand your clientele. And Jupiter's transit the 3rd house is also aspecting the 11th house, house of income, house of marketplace. So again, another house of business. So there will be more opportunities to increase your income and explore a new source of revenue. So this is a good time for Aries rising and Aries moon when Jupiter shifts into your 3rd house. Now we move on to Taurus, last but not least. Taurus rising and Taurus moon. Saturn is currently moving through your 11th house and Jupiter is traveling your 1st house and will move into your 2nd house on 26th of May, 24. And 11th house rules rewards, recognition, gains. And for Taurus rising and Taurus moon, Saturn made you work really hard when Saturn was in your 10th house in Aquarius a few years back. So when Saturn finally shifts into your 11th house earlier this year, you may finally feel like you started getting the rewards from your work, from your hard work, because the 11th house is second from the 10th. And you can feel the support from colleagues, doors are open up, job opportunities are coming to you. And if you're more of a contractor or casual worker, you may receive a more permanent job contract under this influence. And 11th house rules gain, so you will definitely have opportunities to increase your income, at least stabilize your income, either through pay rise or new job or some new source of income during the next 2 years. Saturn transit 11th house is looking at the first house. First house is you, your personality. So you become more disciplined and focused and purposeful. So you may notice that you have become more serious and responsible when it comes to your goals. And your focus has shifted to networking, earning more money, and fulfilling your professional goals, which will lead to a long-term growth and prosperity. And first house also rules the body. So if you have any health issues, this is also a good time to address that. And also you'll become more disciplined to sort them out. And Saturn transit the 11th house is looking at the 5th house and also the 8th house. Both houses, they are related to speculation, stock market, and investments. So if your 5th house and 8th house, there's no affliction. You can make profits through stock markets or investments. But if there's any affliction, be cautious with financial risks. And so for Taurus rising and Taurus moon, you can definitely expect some support and rewards during the next 2 years, because that's the second from the 10th, building up your savings, building up networks and foundation in life. And Jupiter is currently in your first house and will move into the second house. Jupiter transit the first house is a very important transit. You will feel expansion at all levels in your life. And for Taurus rising, this is actually an excellent time for you because Saturn loves to be in the 11th house and Jupiter at the moment is in the first house. You can feel the expansion at all levels, especially with your money situation, your wisdom, learning, education, and also your happiness. And you can see positive developments in your money situation. And you can see opportunities in your careers as well. And first house rules you. Jupiter transit here will definitely increase your confidence, your radiance, and how you feel about yourself. And you become more positive and optimistic about your future. And when Jupiter transits the first house, you will also be inspired to expand your knowledge, to learn new things, because Jupiter has directional strength when it's in the first house. So when it transits your first house, you get the temporary directional strength. You become more curious about things, cultures, everything, and then you just want to learn things. And travel will be a big thing as well, because when Jupiter transits the first house, you would like to see the world and explore different cultures, different places. Then Jupiter will move into your second house, which is your money houses. And for Taurus rising, Jupiter is ruling your 11th house and transiting the second house. So both money houses are activated. And the money you make goes into your savings, goes into the home, especially second house is 4th from 11. So that really goes into your home, your savings, your bank accounts. So you can see financial improvements, investment improvements, and there will be opportunities to grow and secure your income and secure and resources under this influence. And second house is 11th from the 4th. So we're counting from 4th, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So 11 is associated with long-term investments. So you might spend some money on properties, lands, vehicles, or any conveniences as a long-term investment. And for Taurus rising, Jupiter is ruling your 8th house, transiting the second house. You could potentially gain through investments under this influence. But if there's any affliction in your 8th house, be aware of financial risks, especially for Taurus rising. I think resources and money are very important. And also for Taurus moon, because Jupiter is transiting the second house, you might feel confident with your money. So you might make risky choices with it. So just bring some awareness to that. And Jupiter is ruling your 8th house, transiting the second house. Your financial situation could go through sudden changes. Some of you might inherit something from your family or dealing with some legacies. Or maybe it's because you invest your money in properties or buying something big, some land or vehicles. So that's why your money situation can go through changes. And Jupiter transit the second house is looking at the 6th house. So you'll become busy with your work, with your daily activities, and you can have more responsibilities and longer working hours. But at the same time, because Jupiter transit the second house is looking at the 10th house. So it's looking at 6th house, your work, and 10th house, your career. So the more work, more efforts that you put into your career path, the greater appreciation you'll get. And also you can elevate your social status. So overall for Taurus rising and Taurus moon, 2024 to 2025 is a fantastic time for you to lay out the foundation for future fortune, especially to money houses are activated and Saturn is in the happy house in the 11th house. So you become more diligent and serious about your goals and achievements. And the 11th house is also about gains and money making. And with Jupiter transit in the second house, that amplifies more opportunities for a stronger financial foundation. So that was the career and money for 12 signs in 2024. And I hope that this video can provide some insights about what to expect next.
Wow, that was so in-depth. You must be so tired. Thank you so much, Corinne. I absolutely love your insights, how you combine Jupiter and Saturn to give us the fuller picture. This is very high-level astrology. I love this. And again, I'm saying if anyone would like to contact Corinne, I'll put the link below for a personal reading with her. And yeah, that will be valid for the next 2-3 weeks after the release of the video. Thank you so much, Corinne, for your great presentation.
Yeah, thank you.
Happy 2024. I really loved my signs. I'm looking forward to see what will happen. Sorry. My family is back.
Baby.
We'll see. Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for joining us. Goodbye.
Thank you. Happy holidays. Bye.